us on yet another edition of AM Today. This is where we explore issues having to do with the development of society, especially the Nigerian state. I'm Sunday Kolawole. Of course, I'm not alone on the program. Shade is here with me. Good morning, Shade.
Good morning, Sunday. It's nice to have you on the show with me this morning. Good morning, good people of Nigeria. Hope it's a beautiful day wherever you are. The 17th day in the month of April 2023. As Sunday said, we're going to be taking some salient issues in the society as well as giving you the headlines from across the newspapers.
Alright, let's start with a check on stories making headlines in the national dailies. We start this morning with the Guardian newspaper. In the Guardian newspaper of today, the 17th day of April 2023, this story leads the paper. Near bankrupt states on viable projects await 18 new governors. That's on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. Of course, you find some of those states are also listed right on the map of Nigeria, as displayed on the front page of the Guardian newspaper of this morning. Coming down side the front page of the Guardian newspaper, you also find this: aviation workers begin warning strike today over welfare and condition of service. Page 7 of the Guardian newspaper story. Earlier, there's been a call, I think in February, that there's going to be a down tooling by this set of workers. Now, their warning strike commences today. Intrigues as Otedola takes strategic position in blue chip assets. That's the one you find on the green chip. It's a blue chip story. Painted green, the Guardian newspaper on the front page. The big story is that of the drama in Adamawa State, and just as the way the Guardian newspaper also captured the story, drama as INEC disowns REC, voids Binani's declaration. That's on page 8 of the Guardian newspaper of this morning. Freedom of expression, thin line between hate speech, sedition, and treason. You find that on page 4 of the Guardian newspaper. Amid postponement calls, NPC insists on May 3 census. That's also reported in the Guardian newspaper. I think the biggest story of the day, as we find in the Guardian newspaper this morning, is that of the drama in Adamawa State, where it's been captioned drama. I like to call it shameful display of shamelessness. Honestly speaking, I do not understand that.
It seems to be a season drama because we've had the regular election. They held the election too when the general elections were held earlier in February. Now there's a supplementary election and it's still not ended. So what we are going to have? What would that be called? Is it a supplementary or supplementary?
What is more important to me in the whole Adamawa saga is the fact that whatever it is that happened excuse me, during the election proper, whatever good was recorded during the election proper have been rubbished by all of the pointless, mindless, and shameful drama that now happened yesterday. How on earth will the resident electoral commissioner now usurp the duties of the returning officer of an election? And you also find it not just funny, but also very shameful that people who aspire to political positions in Nigeria are either criminal minded, or they're too desperate, or they're just having this reckless abandon when it comes to disregard to consider authorities.
I think it's a combination of all. Yes.
Now, what is now more worrisome is the fact that law enforcement seems to be getting to the lowest ebb. Now, are you going to tell me that law enforcement agents are ignorant of the law, especially the Electoral Act? You find security operatives right there with the REC while he was constituting the illegality and what many have also tagged nuisance to the electoral process.
Well,
and nothing was done.
There should be an investigation into the
And
matter.
so there must be a way to really get to the root of
He
the
could
matter.
have done that. So probably he was sent by someone who is more powerful than he is, and who he believes.
You see, that's
just to
the
get
problem.
him out of the net.
That is the problem. We all believe that there's somebody or some people somewhere that are powerful. Now, I'm not always proud to make this kind of an expression that insane climbs, as if we are in insane society. But insane climbs, you will find the system stronger, more powerful than individuals manning it. How on earth will wreck? Who by the law is not supposed to even have it
in Nigeria, the problem has always been that there are some individuals who are more powerful, more influential, or even richer than this Nigerian state.
We need to be
we need some political psychiatrists.
I also think that on a more serious note, the electorate, the political participants are also getting more literate, more how do I put that, more active in the affairs that have to do with them. Kudos to those two individuals who rose to it and said, look, you cannot do this. In fact, one even went the religious way, since we are highly religious people in this country. Look, you are fasting, you should know the right thing, you should do the right thing. And honestly, when you look at the array of condemnations that have also come against that mindless action, you find that indeed everyone agreed that was just not supposed to be. But interestingly, INEC was at the headquarters had to also come out and say, look, what is going on there? Now that declaration is not void, it is not in consonance with the law. Kudos to INEC leadership for coming out to do that. But I think beyond doing that, there must also be more. INEC must get to the root of the matter. INEC seems to be more concerned that it's national commissioners and some other people.
Can I just take it?
Of course, just a moment.
Yes.
INEC commissioners, INEC officials were rough-handed, mal-handed, and all of those. Of course, terrible thing. It's not the way to go. But as INEC is concerned about that, it should also be concerned with getting to the root of the matter to know which hand touched which hand, what happened, what led to what. And so everyone, because electoral offense is electoral offense, whether committed by INEC official or the INEC chairman himself, there must be a way to deal with the matter. I think that's more important.
Yes, well, quite a lot of recklessness in the supplementary election. Actually, not just only in Adamawa, but that of Adamawa seemed to be a dramatic one. So also in the Punch newspaper for this morning, yes, we also have it as the headline there. Benani declaration. Adamawa wreck under fire faces INEC panel today. I guess the writing has been done there. But details of that story is on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. But writers are here. Adamawa APC PDP clash. Wreck faces 36 months imprisonment. INEC annuls Benani's declaration as governor-elect, says REC usurps returning officers' power. Atiku, Fintiri, PDP, kick. Adamawa APC hails Benani as supporters jubilate. What's the jubilation? Well, check details of that story on page 2 of the Punch newspaper this morning. Away from Adamawa now, aviation unions to ground flights, airports today. That's on page 29 of the Punch newspaper. For some time now, the aviation workers have been saying they're going to be embarking on 2 days warning strike, and I think it begins today. So if you're traveling, well, you just have to go via other routes. Nigeria's 96% revenue used to service debt in 2022. That is according to World Bank. Details of that you find on page 20 of the Punch newspaper, and also on page 18 of the Punch newspaper. Buhari meets governors. EFCC chair others in Saudi Arabia. Okay, and Lagos, Ondo, Bayelsa lead states in rising inflation. You want to know the statistics? Check page 30 of the Punch newspaper. Flood sweeps 4-year-old boy away in Lagos. Such a sad story. Remember last week we told about the warnings, coming from NEMA that there will be flood in some flood-prone areas this rainy season. Please let there be proactive measures so that we won't have to be reading stories like this of the young boy swept away by the flood in Lagos. And finally, on the Punch newspaper this morning, gunmen adopt Ogun traffic official on Lagos Ibadan expressway. Well, that is on page 5 of the Punch newspaper.
Well, it's sad that the flooding story there, yeah. Very sad one. But last year, I think from January, there were warnings from NIMED, from NEMA, and so on and so forth, that there will be issues. Well, it seems that those who were supposed to know better went to sleep.
It seems we don't usually do anything.
Over 600 people lost their lives last year to flooding, and over 3,000 were injured to those devastating natural disasters. Now this year, excuse me, right from the beginning of the year, the warnings have also been coming, and I do not think that governments of any states that's worth its salt will fold its arms and not really do the needful in seeing to it. Just last week, there was also warning by NEMA that this riverine states and these states that have riverine communities will be suffering more from the devastating effects of flooding this year. Lagos, Bayelsa, and rivers, I think those were specifically mentioned, and I think on those should not go to sleep as far as that is concerned too. Despite that was not mentioned, yeah. On those should not go to sleep. There must be proactive measures to deal with flooding. But while those in government are doing that, while those in the environmental protection agencies are doing that, you as a citizen, you as a resident, you as a Nigerian, what are you doing? Once it rains, people go and then it's time to pack their waste and dump in water, ways, canals and drainages. You think you're smart. When nature catches up with you, you know that nature is smarter than you. It's better to avert and prevent such problem that would come from such an irresponsible act by not even going into it in the first place. So we all must really do the needful to check that. Let's move to the Sun. That's the Daily Sun newspaper of today, 17th Apr 2023, and check stories making headlines there. LP, that's Labour Party. LP crisis deepens as 2 Guba candidates emerge in Imo. Page 7 of the Daily Sun has the story. Of course, we've talked about the striking workers crippling airport operations today as those aviation workers begin warning strike today. Yes, we also talked about tension in Adamawa over Guba results as INEC grills REC will declare the APC candidate winner. Void announcement to give final word tomorrow. That's on page 6 of the Daily Sun newspaper. And confusion shows shambolic nature of 2023 polls. Who is saying that? Atiku Abubakar is saying that. Check details on page 6 of the Daily Sun newspaper of this morning. Some more stories there. Contact dormant account owners before taking their monies. Shareholders, Beacon urge CBN. That's one of the big problem in the offing if not well handled. CBN is saying that dormant account for a period of 10 years, such money should be transferred to a particular trust fund account, and I don't know how that is going to order. And I think there must be due diligence done in all of that. People whose accounts are dormant who have next of kin, they will have people who
yes, who could claim such funds, yes, and not just the federal government, impounding such funds, because sometimes I heard a story of a friend who says they lost their father, but they could not access his money because of some protocols and all that, and now the government was supposed to also cater for the welfare of these people, taking such funds. Well, we hope that there will be a more transparent way of claiming such dormant funds.
Well, whichever name we want to give it, due diligence must be done.
Yeah.
I think that's much more important, especially at a time when Nigerians really, really need a better lease of life. CBN cannot come and say it's going to just do something that's going to be against the interests of the greatest number of people. Something indeed must be done there. Now let's check more stories here from the political arena. You'll find this one: APC's Idris wins Kebbi Gubapol. That's on page 7. Tambuwal Wamako win Sokoto Senate seats. You find that also on page 7. Tambuwal is a outgoing governor. Now he has won the Senate seats. The trend you find in Nigerian political space.
The trend you find in the Senate.
FG awaits legislative approval to disburse $800 million to vulnerable Nigerians. Page 2 of the Daily Sun newspaper has the story. Modalities for that disbursement will be very, very important for many commentators, for many Nigerians who really want to know. $800 million, not 800 million naira. That's huge, and that must be a way.
It is a one-off thing.
Well, even if it's a one-off thing, we're talking about $800 million. Shade, not
when somebody did the calculations by the population of Nigerians, it is expected that each Nigerian will be getting, I think, approximately 20-something thousand naira. But what does that do for us?
Now let's also make this calculation.
If the fair price, the pump price is going to be on the increase, invariably every item in the market is also going to be on the increase. Services are going to be on the increase. What will 20,000 naira do for you?
Assuming but not conceding that that's the correct calculation. Not just imagine that this studio, 10 people are here, and they all have 100,000 naira in their hands. Just imagine
100, you mean?
Yes.
Okay.
So you see, they say that one rich man in the community of paupers is also a pauper.
Sure.
So if all of them at least have something in their hands, it will go some way, some extent, in also cushioning the effect of the poverty on them. Better late than never, better small than nothing at all.
I would rather the refineries work, you understand, so that we can have affordable pump price and things be normal than give out some palliatives that are going to
I'm sure many Nigerians will agree with you, and they will not agree with you because if you look at it, the Jonathan administration, you had what they call Shopi. The Buhari administration, you've been having, what do they call there now? All teach, all this, all that, empower.
Yes.
Now you also find many of all of those kind of social intervention programs.
So
what has been the story behind the implementation of those programs? Many Nigerians will tell you, if we say that this money should not be disbursed and they want to disburse it now go and check. Recall, someone who was head of EFCC was alleged to have many proceeds of what should not even be with him. Now these are stories that also trigger Nigerians.
Let's hope that this one is not going to go the same way. Well,
now before we leave this Daily Sun newspaper of this morning, let's check. That should still be one or two more stories. The Rivers community deserted over shooting of soldiers. Well, terrible, you will say, of course, terrible. Rivals, uniforms scattered away. Page 4 of the Daily Sun newspaper has a story. Another bloody day in Kaduna. Government killed 22 in southern Kaduna. Government confirms attacks. Page 4 of that Daily paper. That's the Daily Sun newspaper has the story. And finally, IPOP, no threat to 2023 census in Southeast. That's coming from the National Population Commission, NPC. Page 27 of the Daily Sun newspaper has that story. For this and many more, check the Daily Sun newspaper of today, Monday, the 17th of the month of April, 2023 for details.
Alright, and to the Daily Trust for this morning. INEC holds emergency meeting today over Adamawa. Its results coalition moved to Abuja. Prosecute REC, and that's coming from Yadudu. Electoral body decries attack on commissioners. Then Atiku, CDD, Yaga, others react to the Adamawa situation. Well, you want to know details of that? Please check page 4 of the Daily Trust for this morning. And also, Senate, APC secures 59 seats, PDP 36, LP 8, NNPP 2, and SDP 2. Well, who are they that secured these seats from these various political parties? Please check page 11 of the Daily Trust for this morning. You get that. APC Idris wins Kebbi governorship election. I think there's so much noise coming from Kebbi State regarding that election, so we could say is at least a little bit fair there. And then to the palliative issue again. Subsidy palliative, FG to pay 5,000 to 10 million naira. Again, I take it again. I was about to say something else. Subsidy palliative, FG to pay 5,000 to 10 million households for 6 months. Well, I don't want us to argue again that what would that really do for 6 months? 5,000 for each household, which would be approximately like 5 people in a household, would be paid 5,000 for 6 months.
Well, the calculation means that that's 50 billion naira paid to those households. Well, I think what's more important is the outcome of the removal of subsidy.
The outcome, really?
Now,
the ease of life that Nigerians would have afterwards should be what should be considered. How do you make life bearable for ordinary Nigerians after the subsidy removal? It's what should be done and not some 5,000 per month. It doesn't solve anything.
Shade, let's face the reality. All of these moves, palliatives here and there, if you are in government, you agree with me that one way or the other, it might just be the way to go. I'm not holding prefer government, but what is more important is that while that is happening on one side, look, this also points us to something. Let nobody fool Nigerians and say that there is no money. Because we're talking about $800 million the other time. You're talking about 50 billion naira now. You're talking about many other money. From
thousands and millions.
That is also not talking about what some unscrupulous illegal occupants of the position of authority have also siphoned, embezzled, what have you. Now, if all of these are put into consideration, you agree with me that it is a no-no if anybody tells you there's no money in Nigeria. What is in Nigeria is mismanagement, which, if not checked, will also destroy every fabric of Nigerian fabric. Now, if we check it, this palliative here, that other intervention there, if they are not well implemented, you also find some cankerworms, some palmer worms, some caterpillars who have found themselves at the corridor of powers. They will be the one to also siphon this, corner this themselves. Now, that tells us what exactly should be the way and manner that EFCC, ICPC, NFIU, and all other financial regulatory institutions must be alive to their responsibility at this point in time. And honestly speaking, they must be independent.
And Sunday,
otherwise, it will still tell the same tale.
I'm just thinking that why not leave this decision for the incoming government? Because this government is about living. And by the time they take this decision on behalf of the incoming government, would they release the funds just before they leave in some days' time? Or I don't get it. It seems that there's so much waste
let me help you.
in the process. Government is a continent. But in Nigeria, we are not strangers to it wasn't during our administration. Our predecessor messed things up, took hasty decisions, did bad implementation and all that story.
I understand you, but we must not shy away from the fact that every government inherits the liability,
assets and liabilities
of its previous, the predecessor. But what is more, in the midst of all of these interventions, whether right or wrong, in the midst of all of these palliatives, whether well implemented or not, what is more important to Nigerians, of course, will be that at the end of the day, refineries come back to work, and then we don't get to still be importing what we have with us. Such sad, funny, but irritating scenario. There must be a way that at the end of the day, after all of these hardships, there must be that time that we now say, okay, we're heaving a sigh of relief. If that does not come, well,
okay,
I leave it at that.
Okay, now on still on the Daily Trust for this morning. On page 22, you find oral cancer kill 764 Nigerians annually. That's according to federal government. This one ailment, it seems not much attention is being given to. When people talk about cancers, is either prostate or cervical or breast and all that, and people forget about oral cancers. Please, I believe that there will be details of how to get checked and symptoms and all that. Please check page 22 of the Daily Trust. Many killed in fresh attack on Zango Kataf. That's in Kaduna. I'll check details on page 5 of the Daily Trust. Buhari, Chadian leader, expressed concern over Sudan crisis. That's on page 22 as well. And just on the front page of the Daily Trust as well, you see the picture of some Sudanese, hailing soldiers loyal to Army Chief Abdel Fattah al-Burhan in the Red Sea city of Port Sudan yesterday. Fighters said they had agreed to an hour-long humanitarian pause on the second day of urban battles that killed at least 56 civilians and 3 UN staff. Well, we hope that there will be peace in Sudan. As far back as I know it, there's always war in Sudan. Well, may there be peace there.
Where isn't war, Shade?
But in Sudan, it's just like...
You see, war is not just about guns, grenades, and bullets. Of course, war is also about economic incapacitation. It's also about all of these things you find that you're giving names to. You call
that we experience every day.
Or you call it terrorism. The other day you're saying that it's one thing or the other. So, but what is more important is that there must be a way to quell all insurrections for peace and tranquility to reign supreme. Let's move to This Day newspaper. On the front page of This Day newspaper, you find the stories. Well, I think I like the way This Day newspaper captured the Adamawa saga. It reads those: in new law, Adamawa REC announces fake election results. Well, this cannot be said to be subjective because INEC itself has come out to say, look, that is null and void. So I do not know where someone even announces results without result sheets with you, without all of those other things. But let's see how tomorrow looks like. Yes. INEC says it will make final decision on the Adamawa Guba poll tomorrow. Well, many of the other stories here, we've taken them. Ditto the stories you find on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper. Let's check what we find in the sporting arena this morning. Let's check what we have from the sporting arena. It's very important. We also see what's happening there. Sporting Sun has some stories for us there. Osimhen, I'm not keen to quit Napoli. Chelsea optimistic of signing in. Alright, on the front page of the Sporting Sun, you find that. I think just one story like that that's also very important from the home front here. You find from the Sporting Arena that the MPFL Sunshine Stars lose away to Abia Warriors. You find that story on the website of Orange 94.5 FM. You also find many other stories from the Sporting Arena there. Please do check as well. I think that does it on this arena, if you agree with me, Shani.
Yes, and okay, that does it on the Sporting Arena. Let me just leave that story for another day.
Thank God, I do not know what you're trying to talk about.
I just tried to, is it Akime or what? This footballer, that decided to transfer all he had to the mom's custody, and you see all kinds of captions, and you see all kinds of captions. It's still coming from the Sporting
Arena.
And it's an individual thing. So that's why I said it's a story for another day.
When we return, we'll be taking a closer look at security of lives and property vis-a-vis transportation in Ondo State, as we'll be joined by the special advisor to the governor of Ondo State on transportation, Mr. Tobi Oguneye. Please just stay with us, everyone. We'll be right back.